Welcome to another exciting episode of Rogue Finances in Life, where we are life and financially sound. Now, if you've been following my YouTube channel and you've been viewing my YouTube channel and you want to support my YouTube channel, you can support my YouTube channel through Patreon. Just click on the link below and follow me to Patreon, and you can support my YouTube channel through Patreon. Now, for today's episode, if you are one of those that wonder if it's possible for me to save money and become more responsible, more financially responsible, when it doesn't seem like I can, I have a guest today, and my guest, Mr. Colin C. Thompson, which is a professional speaker, and he is the founder and CEO of Oligye Enterprises in Shanghai, China. We will be discussing what he calls the pillars of life and the pillars of finances, and he will be giving tips and advice on how to be able to save money and become more financially responsible. So without any further ado, let's get into this. I am here with Mr. Colin C. Thompson. He is a professional speaker and founder and CEO of Oligye Enterprise from Shanghai. He is a minority-owned company focused on business consulting, coaching, and training. Colin holds a coaching certification by the International Coaching Federation, ICF. As a result of his consulting, training, and coaching services, individuals, teams, and organizations have developed and enhanced work and leadership skills essentials for success in both personal and professional environments. By combining decades of hand-on corporate experience and latest coaching techniques with powerful speaking delivery techniques, Colin's clients are able to reach new levels of success when dealing with today's most compelling professional organization issues. Colin graduated from Harvard University in 1995 with a Bachelor of Business Administration degree in Computer-Based Information System, and in 2006 with a double concentration MBA in Supply Chain Management and Business Technology. In his downtime, he enjoys pushing himself through competing in various events such as marathons and triathlons with his wife, Kay. Colin, quote, "I am fortunate to be able on a daily basis to fulfill my position of building Oligye Enterprises to help individuals through speaking, coaching, business, training, facilitation." So without any ado, here's Mr. Colin C. Thompson.
Hey, Jesus, thanks for having me on. I want to say that I am a very proud CBJ, LIC, MT, ACW.
Well, thank you for being available, and thank you for making your time. And that is very, very impressive.
And let me tell you the story behind that. So I've been living here in Asia for about 14 years. And one thing I've learned is people here, because people here from all over the world, they love introducing themselves with acronyms. So here in China, where I am, you hear the acronym ABC, American Born Chinese, or ABS, American Born Singaporean. I am a CBJ, LIC, MT, ACW. What that means is I am a Canadian-born Jamaican living in China, married to a Chinese woman.
All right. Hey.
It tells my story. Yeah, it tells my story for the past 14 years, man. I love introducing myself using that acronym. But again, thanks for having me on your Rogue Finances and Life podcast. I hope today that we're able to really give your listeners some good lessons, ideas, tips on how to really live a fulfilled life. And hopefully that means that they're in a situation where they are financially independent or financially responsible or just financially intelligent.
Yes, sir. You know what? We just started using that word too. We teach people about their finances, and it went from your financial independence number to your financial intelligence number.
Right. And I think in order to be financially independent, you need to have financial intelligence.
Yes, sir. I totally agree. Yeah, definitely. So, you talk about in your resume, you talk about the pillars of life. So, what is your pillars of life belief system, and where did it come from?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. The pillars of life, and to paint a picture for your audience, I believe in really living a life by design, meaning you sitting down one day and saying, here is the life that I want to provide for myself, my family, and my community. And the reason I say my friends, my family, my community is you must first put together a life for you. You can't help and take care of other people if you haven't helped and taken care of yourself first. So I always say living a life by design, taking for yourself, for your family, and then for others. So my pillars of life, I look at life as there are different things that we must structure in order to live a life by design. In order to say, if I flash forward, I hope 40, 45 years from now, when I'm on my deathbed and think about the life that I lived, will I have lived a fulfilled life? And if so, what did I need to do in order to live that fulfilled life? And for me, that was really identifying different areas of my life to focus on. And the idea came from a conversation I had back in 2000, I want to say 2009 or 10. I was living in Shenzhen, China. And at that point, I was in China for about a year and a half and learning this new wonderful culture. I had some friends over to my house. There were friends from Africa, friends from the US, friends from the Caribbean, and of course, friends from China. And we're all talking about what is life, what makes life important to us. And I remember one of my friends I think he's from Nigeria. He was talking about the pillars of life, the pillars. In life, we must have pillars. One pillar must be family. One pillar must be financial. One pillar must be professional. And we talked about if we looked at what different pillars we established for our lives to be full and focus on. So for me, it was professional pillar, financial pillar, wellness pillar, spiritual, emotional, relationships. These different areas are what I think if I focus on these and excel in these areas, will give me a fulfilled life. And this really comes from, you may have heard of the wheel of life example. If you imagine a pizza, and each slice in the pizza is a different pillar or a different area of your life that you want to excel in. And when I coach my clients, we always start out with the wheel of life, right? Having them fill out what is your wheel of life, why are these things important to you, and here's the important part: where are you now, and where do you want to go? For example, if we talk about financial, if we said that between 1 and 10, as far as your goals and your financial pillar, where are you now? Let's say you're at a 6. Okay, what does 6 look like? And we'll talk about what 6 looks like to them, and where do you want to be? Or I want to get to an 8. Okay, before you get to an 8, what's 8 look like? And by the way, what does 10 look like? And you stay there and you really break down where you are, where you want to be, and how to get there. So I think it's important to really have this, what I call this belief system. I call mine the pillars of life, because these are the different things or different things that I think build my structure, right? Hold up my frame for my life. These different areas.
That's great. Yeah, we also, one of the things that our coaches talk about is if they always tell us, think about 5 years from now, if yourself for 5 years from now is going to be glad or disappointed on what decisions you made now.
Yeah, it's interesting because the 5 years I've used and one of the things I found a lot of times, especially the past few years, if I go back 10 years, people had the ability to have a 5-year plan. People had patience. Now in 2022, people's patience isn't there now. So you say a 5-year plan, people get overwhelmed. What is your 1-year plan? What is your 2-year plan? Right? Because that one, you can touch it, you can feel it a little more, and you can take actions now. Flash forward. I always say, flash forward 1 year. What has changed? What are you doing? What's your job title? And then I say, how did you get there? What did you have to do to get there? So I think having that or having a pattern of being able to flash forward and identify what must I do now to get there, but not flashing forward too far. Because sometimes I'll tell you what, Jesus, if you tell me, Colin, your 5-10-year plan, I'm going to say, man, it's too far. It's too far away. I'm worried about next year. Forget about 5-10 years from now.
Yeah, that's true. So, Colin, why it is important for people to break their lives into different pieces of self-improvement?
Well, I think it goes back to being able to have deeper understanding in what it's going to take for you to live whatever you define as a fulfilled life. If you think about a basketball player who's trying to make it to the NBA, he's not going to say, you know what, I need to improve my basketball game and just go at it. He's going to say, no, if I want to get to the NBA to a higher level, I need to improve my offense, my defense. And he'll go, in offense, I need to improve my 3-point shooting, my free throw shooting, my rebounding. On defense, I need to improve A, B, and C. But when you break things down to that level, you're able to focus clearly, identify what really needs to be worked on. So if you think about your own life and to your audience, if you think about what's important to you and what do you need to really break things into, for example, you may say, you know what, I want to make sure that I have strong relationships with my family and friends. Okay, relationships may be one category. I want to make sure that I am financially viable going forward. So that may be one category. Well, I also want to make sure that spiritually I'm strong. So identifying different categories allows you to say, okay, you know what? Or if I talk about, let's say, for example, wellness, what does that mean and what must I focus on? So by focusing on these different areas, you're more clear on what the goal is, and you can identify what are my goals for each one of these, as opposed to saying, you know what, I need to get my life together. People who say that's fine, but if you only say, I need to get my life together, and don't say what aspects of my life together and how do I do it, then all you're doing is thinking about doing it, but not really doing it.
Yeah, that makes total sense. It makes total sense. It's like taking yourself and deciding which area of your life that you need improvement the most before you actually, because some things might need just a little tune-up and some things might need big improvement. So I guess you're looking at it as prioritizing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we have a habit of making goals every January 1. Right?
Not
January.
Me.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, and that's fine. And hopefully, when they're making goals, they're putting those goals in different categories. One thing I try to do is say, okay, this year I have Colin Thompson goals. I have goals for me, what I want to accomplish. I have goals that I want to accomplish with my wife. I have goals I want to accomplish with my kids. So breaking things down in different categories allows you to have clear focus, because if you have clear focus and understanding on what these goals are, you're better able to reach them. So for breaking things down into what I call the pillars of life, it really helps identify for each pillar, each thing that's important to you, what is that goal for long term, and more importantly, what is that goal for now?
Exactly. Now, when it comes to goals, do you feel like it's important to not just set a goal and just keep it in your mind, but actually write it down so that way you can see it?
Well, I'll tell you this. I guarantee you that if your goal is only in your mind, odds are you've forgotten about it already. Because goals that are in your mind people tend to forget things. I know I have some great ideas. If I don't write them down, the next day they're gone. And some come back and some don't. So yes, I think it's very important to take a goal from your head and write it down immediately. But then when you write the goal down, go a step further. Make sure the goal is in the proper structure, because it's sort of like the more you think about something, the deeper into it you go, the more likely you're going to go after it. What I mean is, if I have a goal, if I have a goal of, I want to lose weight, and a lot of us have this goal at some point in our life, I want to lose weight. Okay, that is a goal, but it's not a clear defined goal. So going from I want to lose weight, okay, stop. Okay, write this down. I want to lose weight. Okay, how much weight? So you want to make your goal what we call SMART. Are you familiar with SMART acronym?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. So instead of saying I want to lose weight, I want to lose 10 pounds by August 13th, so that I can be in better shape and live a better life. So you want to be writing down SMART goals are more clear. And one thing I tell my clients, you have to really, really believe in that goal, right? If it's not attainable and realistic, then change the goal. Change the
Yes,
goal.
sir.
And going from having, I can give examples of how people have goals but don't understand what the real goal is.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'll give an example real quick. I had a client whose goal was to lose weight. I like to tell people, when you have a goal, add this to the end of your goal, so that I can blank, 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 blank. So his goal was to lose weight. I said, okay, so let's go deeper. His goal was I said, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds so that I look better in my clothes. Okay, keep going. I want to lose weight. I want to look better in my clothes so that my wife will be more attracted to me again. I want my wife to be more attracted to me again so that our relationship is improved. I want my relationship to be improved with my wife so that we don't get divorced. So I said, okay, we've broken that goal down several different layers. What is the goal, Jesus? What is his goal?
The original goal was to lose weight.
Right. So had we stopped there, right, we would focus our coaching on helping him lose weight, even though that's not the goal. The goal was really to improve his marriage. So if we start with the real goal, right, then there may be different things to do that. Losing weight might not be it. It might be having a date night. We have no idea, but different things. So to bring this into the financial side, when you have a goal to save money, do the same thing, so that I can. And is your goal, what is the basis or reason that you want to save money? Is it so you can buy something, or is it so that you can have generational wealth? What is that goal? So going deeper, that's the true goal. And if you do it based on financial goals, it's wonderful, because you really find out why you're really trying to be more financially responsible or fiscally responsible.
Exactly. Yeah, that's I agree with that. Just like I wanna be financially independent because I want to have freedom of time, and I want to be able to bless more people and do more stuff that I wouldn't be able to do where I'm at now.
So do you want to go deeper? Go deeper then, right? So you want to be able to bless people and as you mentioned, so that you can do what?
So I can well, first of all, we say that financial independence is not just financially money wise, but also time wise. So if you have more time, you have the independence to do more. You can take that vacation that you want to do. You want to live a life, a more fulfilled life, and you want to be able to, like for my case, I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and we go to this church. So we want to be able to help out the community more. We want to be able to help, with God's kingdom more, or we want to be able to live a more fulfilled life.
And can that be obtained by different means? Right, financial independence may be one avenue to get there. There may be another avenue to get there as well, right? So it's always looking at what is
exactly,
what is the true goal, and what do I need to do to get there? Because there could be a lot of different ways to achieve that.
Yes, sir. You're right. So now, how does someone go about identifying their own pillars?
Yeah. So let me just say that if you think about, we all have different things that we think is important to in our lives. My pillars right now, I have about 5 or 6, maybe 7 pillars, and that structure may change. Everybody has their own pillars. For example, as you mentioned, you're a Christian. So for a lot of pillars, their spirituality or religion is very, very strong. For some people who aren't Christians, that might not be one of their pillars. So each individual really has to identify what is important to me in my life. And one of the activities I love playing this game called having a conversation with my wiser elder self. So imagine, Jesus, imagine your wiser elder self. He's much older than you are now. He's went through everything you've went through plus more, and he's about to leave this place and go to another place. Your very strong mind, very strong body. Your wiser elder self has lived a very fulfilled life, and he's in a very good place. What advice would your wiser elder self give you about what's been important in life and what's helped you to live that fulfilled life? And those different areas he talks to you about, that's a good starting point to identify your pillars. He may say, you know what, family was very important. Making sure I kept educating myself so I can have good employment was very important. My spirituality was very important. And then my mental health was very important. So he may tell you different things that allowed you to live that fulfilled life. And that's a great way to start about identifying what are your pillars or what are your slices in the wheel of life.
Got you. That makes a lot of sense. So now you mentioned that one of your pillars is financial. What advice would you give for those of us that feel that they can't afford to save money, but want to be more financially responsible?
We can all afford to save money. Let me start by saying that. And some people might say, well, no, that's not my case. We can all afford to save money, even if we can't afford it. Okay? Even if we can't afford it, we can't afford it. And I'll explain that. The first thing I would tell your audience to do is go to the bookstore, go to a bookstore and purchase the book called The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a great book that talks about how to really be financially intelligent. It's been around, I think George Clayson wrote the book a long, long time ago. And the book costs maybe $5. It gives great lessons on how to really, I would say, to really adopt a financial mindset. And the book is good because it gives it in parables, these different stories in parable format. Okay. It's a very good read. And if you are not willing to take $5 and invest in your future by reading this book, then you're not really serious about being financially responsible. So one thing I learned is that we really have to make sacrifice. And one of my first businesses was giving financial advice. And the only reason I was good at that was because my father is Jamaican, and Jamaican fathers are very cheap. So I grew up never really having pocket money. We had to, if we wanted money for something, no allowance, we had to really negotiate with my father to get anything. And if we didn't pass his test, we didn't get any money. So we had to really look at how we can get jobs and do little things around the neighborhood. And one thing I've learned is that sometimes when we say we don't have money, and I learned this lesson after college, that there are people here, or not here, but there are people whom Jesus will tell you they don't have any money to save. However, they have an iPhone. They don't have any money to save. However, they have Nikes on. I didn't have my first pair of Nikes until I was in college, literally until I was in college. And I love that because I never had that need to have designer things. So one thing I tell people, whenever you get a paycheck, first of all, in order to be financially independent, wise, whatever, you must have employment. If you don't have employment, then you're not going to be able to unless you have a trust fund, right? But you're not going to be able to save money. Whenever you get paid, have the mindset of, I'm going to save 10%. Now, that might mean that you're late on paying some bills. That's fine. That might mean that you're not able to eat out as often. That's fine. Mindset, I'm going to save 10%. And if you can't save 10%, save something. But the first person you pay each time you get paid is yourself. Now, Jesus, when I graduated college, I made the mistake of renting a nice apartment. It wasn't cheap. I got a nice car, yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, I started saving $25 a month, which was nothing. But what that did, and let me clarify that. It was something, because what that did, it showed me that even though it's only $25 a month, I am saving. And it got me in a pattern of saving. It wasn't much initially, but 25 turned to 35, 35 turned to 45, and soon it was more. But by the time I was saving 100, 200 per month, I had already established a pattern of saving. And for me, it was, you know what, instead of going out, and I was 21, 22, instead of going out to happy hour and spending $40 on drinks, I'm going to go to the liquor store, buy my own bottle, go home, right, and take that $25 I didn't spend and save that. So sometimes we have to sacrifice things, and we often do this, sacrifice some things, right, and save our money first. Pay ourselves, then pay the bills. Don't pay the bills first. That may sound bad, right? But pay ourselves first, that 10% or whatever, and then pay your bills. And what's left over from that, it may be $100. Learn how to live off of that little amount of money, right? But if you want to build up your financial freedom or you have to start small and build it up over time. And understand it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's exactly. I had somebody tell me one time that what is the difference between a wealthy person and a rich person? So he took a piece of paper, he split it in half. And he said, well, a rich person spent 50% and only saved 50%. Then he took that 50%, ripped it in half again. He said, look, a wealthy person saves 75% and only spend 25%.
Absolutely. And that wealthy person also has that money that he has working for him, getting interest, investments, things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. So staying with finances, what is it that made this an important pillar for you?
There's a term that I really don't like. Money makes the world go round. I just don't like the way it sounds. And the connotation, to me, it's not positive. It is true, though. It is true. And I would say that finances make the world go round. I don't know how to say it differently, but for me, as I mentioned, I didn't mention this. My parents were double immigrants. They immigrated from Jamaica to Canada and from Canada to the U.S. And fortunately, my dad was an engineer. So we were growing up okay. We grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. We had we called a mini mansion, a four bedroom house, big backyard, big front yard, winding driveway, three, four bathrooms, a finished basement. It was a nice house. And we lived in that house for about 10 years, from the time I was in third grade. And then my father got into some legal issues, when I was a sophomore in high school. Really because he had a engineering company, construction company, and he brought in some Jamaican workers to work for the company, and some of the paperwork wasn't correct. So he got his hand smacked for that. But with that, due to lawyer fees and whatnot, we went from that mini mansion, living in a nice neighborhood, to a 2-bedroom apartment almost overnight. And I remember the pride gone in my father. He was a very, very proud man. And if you can imagine going from a very large, nice house to a 2-bedroom apartment. Now, when we moved into the house in 1983, we had 6 kids. So it was a lot of people in the house. Luckily, by the time in 1990, it was just my parents and I. So it was only 3 of us. So, but still the pride. And even my pride, my friends who used to come over to my house, now coming over to an apartment, it's like, what the heck happened? And I at that moment, I said, you know what? I will never put myself in a position where I'm just broke. Because at that point, we didn't have any money. Um, so I said, you know what? Let me do what I can now to learn more about how to be financially. And back then, it wasn't even financially responsible. It was just, let me learn how to save money, right? And one fear I had, Jesus, was I never ever wanted to owe anybody money, because if I lose my job, if something goes wrong, I don't want somebody to come take my house, take my car, anything. So I don't want to owe anybody any money. So I always said to myself, if you can make sure that you have some sort of system, right? System for staying financially smart. So I just work my butt off. And one thing I can say that it's not healthy, because even now I do have, for example, right now I owe about, I want to say about $900 on my MasterCard, and that's it. I don't owe anybody anything else. Luckily when I was 26 years old, I bought my house in Maryland. I paid that off about 15 years later, because I was nervous if anything happens in life, right? I don't want them to come and take my house. So, you know, my car, I paid my car off in about 2 years. So I'm very big on paying things off early. And I'm happy to say that, you know, when I had my student loans, I had my mortgage, I had my car payments, I was under a great amount of stress. Now, though, I am not. And the mindset shift is, it's sort of like I'm free to think out of abundance and not out of fear. And when you're able to do that, you're able to make wiser financial decisions. So now I know for a fact that I can take more. I can take, for example, I have a small business here in Shanghai. I'm not making a lot of money, but at the same time, I'm not stressed, because my lifestyle is such that I don't have to pay a lot of things off. And it helps me make better financial decisions. I'm not out there getting loans with terrible interest rates. I'm not doing that. I'm not out there using my credit card to pay my monthly bills. So this was an important pillar for me to establish, because I never wanted to be in a position that my father was in. Now, wasn't his fault, but I never wanted to be somewhere where, you know, the early parts of my life, I'm living great. And then as we go into the retirement age, it's very, very hard to make a living. So I was scared into making sure that finance was a very important pillar for me.
Yeah, and for me, it is for me too. And what I have noticed that because of the business, I've been around other people that are wealthy or financially free, and they have that mindset that just because I have all this wealth, don't mean that I have to live above my means. And they've created a lifestyle to where, yeah, I can enjoy some of the things in life, but at the same time, I'm not wastefully spending.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's keeping up with the Joneses. And a lot of people try to do that, and quite frankly, I was in that mind space for a while as well. And I go back to my parents' upbringing and their input, because again, coming from Jamaica, where you just don't have a lot, you never really had the desire to live a flamboyant life. Yeah, you want some nice things, but you're not trying to keep up with your neighbors, whose car is better, whose car is newer, who has the finer clothes. No, I think now for me, I look at my kids. I want my kids to have, you know, things I didn't have, but I don't want them to have things that they don't need, that look good and shiny. So I think it's important that we all, you know, set a budget, and as long as you're living within that budget, spend your money on whatever you want to. As long as you're living within that budget, as long as you're saving some money, if you're able to save some money and then go and eat out at a nice restaurant, go and do it. Don't feel guilty. But make sure you're saving that money first, right? Save first, spend later.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really good. I agree with you 100% because it just, it's a way better, it's a better life.
It's a better life.
And it's, I'd rather live a life where I don't have the fear of, or I don't have to I don't have to feel the, oh man, I gotta owe this person now in order to make this happen, when I can just go ahead and since everything is taken care of, now I can go and do this.
Yeah.
And like you said, and guilt free.
Yeah, and it was. I'm not sure what your age is, but I see you have gray hair like me, right? So I've noticed. I'm 40. I'll be 49 in 2 weeks, and my financial concerns have shifted.
Yeah.
Previously, it was okay. Let me save up some money, so if I want to buy a new house, I can have A, B, and C. Now it's like I want to be able to retire with dignity.
Yes,
I want to
sir.
be able to retire and really have a good life. And I know my retirement time, I guess, is still 15 years from now, but that's not a long time. That's not a long time.
No.
And when you retire, you need to have enough resources to live the rest of your life. I think retiring age, 65? My youngest daughter is 9 months old. My oldest son, I have two kids, just turned 3 yesterday. I need to be here another 30, 40 years, right? So I need to make sure I have the long money. So my concerns now are more into, will I be able to retire with dignity, or will I be like some of I have a ex-colleague. I used to work for IBM, and I have an ex-colleague that I want to say, he and his wife just bought a nice Mercedes-Benz last year. He's in his early 70s, having to work every day. And to me, it did not make sense. Why? Yeah. So he has to work every day. And I'm like, I do not want to be in a position where I have to work in my 70s. If I need to work, fine, but I don't want to have to work. So my thoughts now on how do I make sure that I don't put the burden on my kids, right, to take care of daddy when he's in his 70s and 80s. So my mind shifts to now is, what must I do in my financial pillar, that area, to make sure that while I'm taking care of my family now, I'm still positioning ourselves such that my wife and I can retire with pride X number of years from now.
Yes, sir. That makes sense. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now, where I am 50. I turned 50 this year. So, but yeah, our goal right now is to put ourselves in a position to where, like I said, we can have that freedom, and we don't have to put our kids in that. But matter of fact, we want to be able to put our family in a position where they can enjoy also their life. And like you said, don't have to worry about what we're going to do with them, because they didn't think about us.
Yeah. And it's funny because I talked to my friend a long time ago about having kids and kids' college. And it was responsible to parents to pay for their college. Before I had kids, I said, look, when my kids are college age, it's their responsibility. And I said that because when I went to college, my dad gave me $100. That was it. So that was my family contribution to college, $100. And and I made it through. Fine. So my view was, hey, look, man, if I did it, my kids can do it. But now that I'm older and have kids, I'm realizing that as a parent, we know the burden of student loans. Do we want to put that on our kids and have them graduate with one hand tied behind the back financially already? So what can I do now to make sure that my kids also have the means to go to university? And I can't just say, you know what, well, daddy was a great athlete, you can too, right? Or study more. I can't hope on a scholarship, right? Exactly. I got to make sure that we have something for them. So, a lot of different, needs, or a lot of different things in my financial pillar that we're working on. Taking care of our kids, taking care of our families, and making sure, again, that we're able to retire with pride or with dignity.
Oh yeah, that definitely. That makes sense. And hey, that's how it should be. Definitely.
Yeah. Jesus, I know a lot of people, again, and I wanted to say this again, a lot of people feel that they cannot afford to save. First of all, yes, you can, again. Start saving $10. Put $10 into your account every month and pay yourself first. A lot of people will say, you know what, let me pay all my bills, and whatever's left for my bills, this is my pocket money for the month, and let me save a little bit for the pocket money. No. Pay yourself first.
Yes, sir.
Pay your bills, and whatever's left, That's your pocket money. Now you may say, you know what? Well, I can't really. This pocket money is not enough for me to get through. If I only have $200, I can't survive on that for the next 2 weeks. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say this: if you have an utility bill, like electric bill or gas bill, pay a little less. Pay a little less, and you know what? Turn lights off in the house more. Right? Pay a little less because those are variable. They'll change each month, right? So if you pay something a little bit late, the late fees won't be that bad. But pay yourself first. Get in the habit of paying yourself first, and then cook more. There are things we can do that are so easy to save money. And if you start saving $10, tell yourself for the next 6 months, I'm going to save $10 a month, and then $15 a month. Because at that point, you learn how to live your life saving $10. Okay, now live your life saving $15 a month, right? Start small and build up, build up, build up, build up. But you do have to sacrifice.
Yes, sir. You're right. Absolutely right. So this was definitely a great episode. A lot of good information. I really appreciate it. And I know for sure that somebody would learn something from this and definitely be blessed.
And Jesus, thank you for having me on the show.
And thank you for being available.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to, I am a life coach. I do coaching on several different areas: life coaching, financial independence, financial coaching as well. If the audience can reach me at oligye.com, oligye.com.
Okay, thank you. I will put that out there, and I will put it in the description.
Great.
Definitely. Well, it was my pleasure having you on my show. Like I said earlier, somebody's definitely going to benefit from this. I really appreciate you making time to be on the show. And
yeah. So my last comments here. Go get the book, the Richest Man in Babylon, and it was written by, I want to say, George Clayson. Just Google The Richest Man in Babylon. Get the book.
I sure will. All right. Well, thank you once again. You have a blessed rest of your day, and we'll keep in touch.
All right, sir.
All right. So I really hope you enjoyed that episode with Mr. Colin C. Thompson. I hope you learned how to be able to save money and become more financially responsible. And remember, if you want to support my channel, you can support my channel through Patreon. And don't forget to subscribe and smash the like button. Until next time, see ya.